he's the ICC lead expert. We're pleased to see some of the key stakeholders from across the city and district join us on this call. And we're also honoured that members of the European Commission and some of the other cities from the challenge have taken time to join this event and share their expertise. During this event, you will receive a number of short presentations, and you're also going to hear from a number of panels that will discuss the challenges faced by the city, particularly on skills, youth, and current skills initiatives in place across the city. We're also going to hear from other European cities, including Amsterdam's House of Skills, Pori's RoboCoast, and this is around some of their experience in their skills projects and potential skills initiatives that they've implemented that have made a difference. I would now like to introduce you to the Mayor of Derry City and Straband District Council, Councillor Brian Tierney. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam, and good morning, everyone. As first citizen and Mayor of Derry City and Straband District Council, I'm honoured to welcome you all to the online launch of our City and District's participation in the European Union's Intelligent Cities Challenge. Our participation in the Intelligent Cities Challenge will see us join a European Commission initiative bringing together 130 cities to achieve intelligent, social, responsible and sustainable growth through advanced technologies. As a city, we previously took part in the EU Digital Cities Challenge. This has helped us develop our strategic vision and the roadmap for digital transformation. And now the Intelligent Cities Challenge, I believe, will take us to the next level. The impact of COVID-19 on all of our communities, young people, families, and local businesses has been devastating. Now more than ever, digital transformation of our city and the development of digital skills for our young people is important. And we hope to address the skills challenges that we face with our participation in the Intelligent Cities Challenge. Having attended the 100 Intelligent Cities Mayor Summit in October last year, I am pleased to say that we are not alone in addressing our skills challenges. We will be able to network and learn from other cities that have faced similar challenges, and you will hear from some of them today. Thank you all very much for taking time to join this event launch, and I look forward to learning about some of the skills initiatives that will be discussed later this morning. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're now going to hear a short introduction from Dana Leftriadou. Dana is the head of the advanced technology teams at the European Commission. She's the DG of the internal market, industry, entrepreneurship and SMEs. Dana steers EU policy development on advanced technologies, artificial intelligence, and the digital transformation of European enterprises to foster Europe's technology and industrial leadership. Thank you, Dana.
Sorry, this is Saverio, the lead expert. I think Dana is not online. I'm trying to contact her. Maybe Margaret, you can go ahead, and then we can take Dana when she's online.
Yeah, sure, that's fine, Saverio. Maisha, if you could switch back to the previous presentation. And what I'll do is just, really set the context of this Intelligent Cities Challenge and give you a little bit of the background. So, as the Mayor said, if we had the next slide, please, Maisha. The background to this is the Digital Cities Challenge, and the City of Derry was very fortunate to be in this, which ran from 2017 to 2019. And the objective was to use advanced technologies for, as the Mayor said again, to encourage growth in a sustainable and inclusive way using digital technology. So a lot of work was done in that project in terms of building a local ecosystem of stakeholders. We got a lot of support from the European Commission with expertise like Saverio for ICC, and a whole process of assessing the digital maturity of the city and deciding on what should be done to transform the city to be smarter. There were, in that 40 cities, only 2 were from the UK, Derry, and the other city was Sunderland, I believe. I think on the island of Ireland there was also Cork. But it was a very good project, and it gave the city a blueprint, if you like, for digital transformation for the city region. So if we have the next slide, I'll explain a bit more detail on digital cities. So the basis of it was, again, peer learning and knowledge sharing amongst the other cities, along with support and expertise from the digital cities team in the European Commission. The work was done with a whole range of stakeholders from the city, from education, business, agencies, and they were consulted. And again, it helped build capacity within the city, within the council as well, in terms of new digital technologies. So what came out of that was, really, it did build a vision and a strategy, a very detailed plan for digital transformation of the city and the region. And specific sectors that were highlighted were things like digital creative, life sciences, digital technology, how that could apply to culture and to advanced manufacturing. Various areas were prioritized in that plan, and a great deal of progress has been made since then in some areas, specifically things like broadband, innovation and research will take a step forward with the city deal, and other programs that have progressed are things like the Business Innovation and Growth Program in the city, and also a smart energy pilot was tagged under Digital Cities Challenge. So now we move on. The next timeline is onto the Intelligent Cities Challenge. And this started in April 2020 when the application went to the Commission, and thankfully it was successful. So it kicked off in October with the first City Lab. And this time, instead of 40 cities, it's 100 cities. Well, actually 100, it's more than that, because there are also groups of cities that applied together. And there's also mentor cities, cities like Singapore and Amsterdam, who are further ahead on the transformation journey. So building on the Digital Cities Challenge, I think now Derry is the only UK city in this, along with all those other cities. So it's in a unique position. And the aim here is, again, to use advanced technologies to improve the lives of citizens in our region. So we got started in late 2020, and that's kicked off with stakeholder discussions about reviewing the digital transformation basis that was formed in the Digital Cities Challenge. And it became clear fairly quickly through those discussions that the key priority should be skills and young people. And you'll hear later from Tina Gillespie, skills manager in Derry City and Straband District Council, why that is the key area, why that was felt to be the highest priority and is decided to be the focus of this new initiative. So the timeline of Intelligent Cities, once we've decided, we've done our assessment fairly quickly, so we're kind of ahead of the game. We've decided on skills and young people as the priority. So the next step is to work with all of you folks there on targeted initiatives. And that will be in the second part, and it will be detailed and outlined, the process and the areas we're looking at by Saverio, our lead expert. And what is slightly different from the Digital Cities Challenge is that the focus in this, the Intelligent Cities Challenge, is more on implementation. making things happen, and not over we're hoping, well, the aim is to make things happen even within a short time frame, finding quick wins within the first 6 months of the project. Even though we're hampered by COVID and the inability to meet face-to-face in workshops, just like today, we're going to have to make the best of it until the world gets more back to normal. We all pray for that one. So if I could have the next slide, please, Maisha. So what do we get on this journey? We get expertise. You'll be hearing from Saverio, our lead expert, and also from the Thematic Skills Group, we'll be hearing from Niels van der Linden. We have other thematic experts that we'll be able to avail of. We have access to tools, workshops, training, and resources also from the European Commission. And you'll also be hearing today about the kind of things we can learn from other cities. Amsterdam are joining today. It's the House of Skills. We're very pleased they can be with us. And Pori as well, who have specific expertise on advanced technologies in the area of Industry 4.0. So the next slide, please. So I won't go too much into this, but this is what we're aiming for: targeted initiatives for skills in young people that will make a difference, working with our stakeholders, looking for quick wins in the next 6 months, but it's going to be an implementation and going over 2 years. So we hope you'll accompany us on this journey and give us all your input, stay connected, stay engaged. And the why skills in youth? Well, it was always a key priority from the Digital Cities Challenge, and a skills gap was known then, and with the ever-growing importance of digital technology, that gap's likely to grow. The specific situation in the city, well, Tina will tell more about that, but from when we applied for Intelligent Cities, what's happened? Pandemic, obviously, it's a devastating impact on businesses, on education, and it makes digital skills and digital technology for the future all the more important. And of course, we've all had in this region, particularly, the double whammy of Brexit on top of the COVID pandemic. So we need all the help we can get to make things happen for our skills and young people. Next slide. So that's it for me. And Saverio, I don't know, have we got Dana yet to join us?
Yes.
Way, okay. Very good. So my contacts there's the hashtag for Intelligent Cities Challenge. You can follow us on social media, and you can also find the website intelligentcitieschallenge.com. So that's all for me, and I'll pass on now to Dana.
Thank you.
Welcome, Dana.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Margaret, Saverio. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to be here with you. Digital technologies allow for that easily now. So I'm Dana Eleftheriadou, working for the European Commission as a head of advanced technologies team. And I am, let's say, in charge of the design and overview of the different phases of the Intelligent Cities Challenge, starting from the blueprint to the Digital Cities Challenge to now the Intelligent Cities Challenge, and we will see where else this journey will bring us. So I was very happy because Margaret did all the good job, and even better than me, explaining the history behind Intelligent Digital City Challenge. Also the importance for Derry, for the local stakeholders community, and the focus on targeted areas. So let me take a stance and indeed provide the context and how the Intelligent Cities Challenge evolved and matured during indeed the worst crisis in our days, which is the COVID crisis. I would like to start with the recovery plan, the Recovery and Resilience Facility. Although the UK is not in the family, in the European family anymore, I believe the priorities that are stressed in the recovery plan may be relevant at all levels. So this is a slide that I used to show also in other cities, in the Intelligent Cities Challenge. And this is because although it is up to the member states, to the national authorities, to the national ministries to define right now their national recovery strategies, I strongly believe that cities, local and regional actors have an important role to play to co-create this strategy. So to raise your voice and speak about your challenges and how would you like to reimagine the future of their economies. That way, it will help citizen communities to have access to these historic amounts of budget that are available right now for recovery. So here are the 4 areas that the 7 areas that the European Commission has identified as areas where we need to act and to make investments and reforms to advance. I will not explain one by one, but you will see things that you will realize as important for your local communities as well, like renewable energy, so more shifting towards renewable energy. The renovation, very relevant for the cities, renovation of old buildings, public and private buildings. A lot of budget will be made available for this, but also connectivity, from broadband connectivity that actually kept us running during the COVID crisis, but also will unleash all the new innovations of the futures, from driverless cars to home devices, to smart home devices, and so on and so forth. Modernization of the public sector and citizens' engagement is also a very important point. So cities, as we're working with cities, have realized how important it is, especially as they were hit by COVID, to engage more with their citizens and to involve their citizens in the decision-making, in the policy-making. And of course, the issue of reskilling and upskilling is an issue of high importance. I've heard that Margaret has already invited other cities that are front runners in the area of reskilling to exchange views. In the Intelligent Cities Challenge, we are having one of the thematic priorities on reskilling, and we try to indeed bring cities together and has the know-how of what cities can do, and also increase the level of ambition of what cities can do in this area. For parentheses here, for a long time, cities believe that, in general, the general perception was that only national educational authorities were responsible for the area of education and skills. While now, with the challenges, technological challenges, but also with the challenges of COVID, we can see that other actors are getting in, especially when it concerns reskilling of existing workforce and the need to shift jobs from one sector to the other, as you have seen this happening in the COVID crisis and in the aftermaths. There, actors like local actors, cities, local authorities, knowledge and educational institutions, and of course businesses, businesses are very important for this, are key players to make this happen. If I can have the next slide, please. Here, I would like to say that the Intelligent Cities Challenge, the evolution of the Digital Cities Challenge, evolved in order to take into consideration the new political priorities of the European Commission. I'm sure you are fully aware, those are practically the European Green Deal. This is now the new growth strategy, if you wish, with a huge accent on climate change, on new industrial policy and small and medium enterprise strategies, but that are adapted to the new and contribute to the new Green Deal. Therefore, the greening of the whole local ecosystem should remain in focus in the Intelligent Cities Challenge. Also, the digital transformation is the other huge priority. Our President von der Leyen named that the digital decade for Europe. But also, last but not least, is the resilience. So those are the three main actions, let's say: green, digital, but also social resilient. So we are not speaking only about competitiveness, productivity, and growth anymore, but competitiveness, productivity, and growth in a green setting, in a sustainable setting, and that is good for people. If I can have the next slide, please. Yeah, I have prepared a slide about what the Intelligent Cities Challenge is, but Margaret explained that very well, so I would not bore you with repeating the same things. If I can have the next slide, please. Yeah, again, this was explained. Thank you. We can go to the next slide. So how the selection was done. I have to say, on the selection, we were in the middle of the first wave of COVID, and we were afraid that cities would be overburdened to apply for a commission program. But still, we were surprised on how many applications and the high quality we had received, which demonstrates also, for me, it was a sign that in the middle of the crisis, cities understood the responsibility, and cities, and we refer to smaller cities actually, so not the usual capitals, cities value highly the possibility to participate in a network of other European cities and become more extrovert and exchange and learn from each other. And this was a very, how to say, very happy surprise for us to see that indeed confirmed the value of what we're doing in the Intelligent Cities Challenge. Then I would like to mention the 5 thematic priorities. I'm not sure if Margaret has not already mentioned those before I joined, but those is practically, you can see them here, is the green economy is the #1 priority. There we plan to promote local green deals. The local green deals are actually any local strategies that our cities are putting together, but not as local authorities only, but as local ecosystems. So what your companies, what your local administration, what your citizens and civil society groups can do to green, to make your city more livable and greener, all those we call local green deals. And we plan to start with the Intelligent Cities Challenge, start creating a movement of local green deals among the cities, and we plan to support them with further actions in the future. So this is something that will take some traction, I hope at least, and involve all stakeholders in this process. It is not top-down, it will be a mix of different bottom-up, grassroots, and top-down initiatives. Then I mentioned again the value of up and reskilling and the role of cities, and I believe this will be very well covered today. You only welcome this. The other 3 priorities have to do about citizens' engagement and the digitization of the public sector. Here again, we have seen a huge push, a huge acceleration with the COVID. We have seen entire cities going online, city administration going online in a matter of weeks, schools going online in a matter of weeks. We have seen the evolution of even esports and e-entertainment and things like that. And now, and we should keep this momentum, I would say, keep and build upon this momentum. Now it is a golden opportunity also for many cities to involve more the citizens in the decision making. So here we see new models being discussed among our cities. For example, the 15-minute city or the 20-minute city, that the idea is to bring all, to make it possible for every citizen to have all urban services necessary for his daily life in 15 minutes walk or bike from where he lives. So the mentality change from having to move people and citizens around to where the facilities are to bringing the facilities and the services closer to people. Cities like Paris, but also Amsterdam and many Leuven in Belgium, pioneer with this and pilot this model right now. It's, I believe, our duty to be observant, to watch and assess these models as we see, how to say, a changing behavioral attitude from cities and the involvement of citizens in those. And the last two areas are the supply chains and food systems. Again, this was an idea before, but was accelerated with COVID. We have seen the disruption of many supply chains, even for medical equipment and protective gears, and even for food in many cities, which made many cities and local, let's say, urban functional areas rethink about their dependency on global value chains. And especially for essential goods and food, for example, staple goods and food, we have seen many cities going back to closing, linking ties with their rural areas in order to make, let's say, to reduce their dependency on global value chains. So we see a lot of movements around local food systems, localization of supply chains, and many cities are moving that direction. And the last area is the green and digital transformation of tourism. There, again, many cities, of course, were hardly hit. Tourism in general was hardly hit, but in particular, city tourism was even more hit by the crisis. People stopped moving. And now many cities put in their agenda the coming back, but not only coming back, but building back better towards a green and digital future for tourism. If I can have the next slide, please. And this, I believe, will be my last one. On the top of advice and guidance to these 5 thematic priorities that will be according to the selection of the cities, on the top of that, we will work with our cities on what we call transversal services, because they're practically horizontal. And this will include advice for access to finance. There again, there are many European funds that unfortunately Derry will not be able to profit from right now. However, there will be, I'm sure, huge national funds available in this area, and we will provide advice to our citizens on how to access these funds. And then there will be the issue of public procurement. So many of our cities face similar public procurement needs. We're trying to put forward more innovative public procurement in order to be able to buy more innovative technologies, for example. And where need be, joint public procurement would be encouraged. And the third area is, of course, the open data platforms. I'm sure this will be a key issue for many cities. It was already an issue in the Digital Cities Challenge. It is not an easy task, but cities now fully understand the need to, let's say, to have access to full data sets, to open their data platforms to their businesses and researchers. And we are going to advise them on how to better do that in a more coherent way. If I can have the next slide, please, Saverio. I would not go more into this because I already mentioned the ideas of the local Green Deals and the focus on reskilling in my introduction. So I would rather stop here rather than giving you more details, and I'm sure Saverio and Margaret, who follow the program very closely, will be able to resolve any issues. With this, I would like to thank you very much for having me with you. I would like to wish you the best for your event, a very fruitful event today. And if you have any questions regarding, in particular, myself and the role of the European Union, I will be still with you for another 5 minutes. So please feel free. Thank you very much. Saverio, Margaret, back to you.
Actually, Adam, we'll switch back to you. Thank you very much, Dana. That's an excellent overview. Thank you.
And thanks for taking the time to provide an overview again of where we fit this challenge fits in the wider European initiatives and deals, and some of the ideas and support that we'll look to see as we move and progress from both the European Union and both our national government as well. Now we're going to switch through to Tina Gillespie. She's the skills manager at Derry City and Straband District Council, and she's going to provide an overview of some of the skills challenges this city particularly faces and some of the initiatives in place also. So thanks very much, Tina.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to speak at the Intelligent Cities Challenge launch this morning. If I move on to the first slide, what I was going to do is put in context for you our local skills priorities for the Derry City and Straband District Council area. So in 2014, there was a reorganisation of local government in Northern Ireland, and we went down from 26 councils to 11 council areas. With that reorganisation, councils were given the opportunity and statutory power to develop a community plan for the area. This involved developing a new partnership with the statutory sector, community sectors, the business sectors, and government. And this plan was to improve the well-being of all the citizens in the council area. A document was produced. This document is called the Strategic Growth Plan, and this document outlines the social, economic, and environmental objectives for the city and district. And you will see under each of those three pillars, the economic, the environmental, and the social, there was an infrastructure put together to deliver on the agenda under each of those pillars. So under the economic pillar, it looked at how we achieve our education and skills actions that were outlined as priorities in the Strategic Growth Plan. So to that end, to deliver on our education and skills priorities, we put an infrastructure together of subgroups. You will see those 5 subgroups listed below. And those subgroups were highlighted as key areas of growth for the city. So for today's presentation, I thought I would concentrate on the digital, creative, and financial technology subgroup and take you through some of the initiatives, pilot projects that we have undertaken in terms of the skills agenda for young people. So we move on to the next slide. So the digital, creative, and financial technology subgroup is made up of representation from further education, higher education, schools, the private sector, the community, and government departments. The group focuses on 3 key areas. One is a talent supply, and some of the actions it undertakes in terms of the talent supply is to make sure there's an increase in the uptake of educational and training pathways in terms of those key sectors. Looks at informing career decision makers and influencers, that is informing parents and teachers of what the future jobs and skills are needed in those areas. The group also looks to promote the sector in terms of employment opportunities and career pathways. And it also undertakes initiatives in terms of upskilling the current workforce and reskilling for future opportunities. In terms of some of the initiatives under employment opportunities, we wanted here to promote apprenticeships, and that's looking at promoting more vocational education routes and outlining to young people that it's not always the academic route that they need to go through to have a career in this industry. And also looking at employment opportunities, we've also focused on developing alternative routes into the sector. In terms of the focus area of innovation and research and development, what we've done here is we wanted to showcase local success stories. We have highlighted business startups in the sector, and we've also highlighted products and services developed by local companies that have made a worldwide impact. And also here, we look to promote innovation, entrepreneurship, and research and development. The next slide, please. In terms of the skills challenges in the council area, it would be very remiss not to focus on COVID-19 and how it has disproportionately impacted on young people. Over the longer term, those who are at the beginning of their work journey and who will make up our future labour pool will face higher unemployment, lower pay and poor job prospects compared to young people entering work before or after the predicted downturn due to the COVID-19. Too many of our young people leave the skills system too soon, never to return. Now we are finding with COVID, it's impacting on young people with the rates of unemployment now escalating among that 16 to 24-year-old age group. So this is a huge challenge for us in the council area and across the world, I would imagine. Also, a huge challenge we have is the mismatch between our curriculum content and employer needs. Whilst we have an excellent educational system here, it's sometimes slow to respond in terms of adjusting curriculum content to employer needs. Therefore, that leads to a mismatch in your labour market. Again, mentioned by Margaret was the digital divide and how in terms of our young people, there's those with very high-end digital skills and there's those with very little or poor digital skills. Automation, artificial intelligence, new advances in analytics and technological change and their impact on future work opportunities means that it's so important for our young people to have these digital skills. And our skills system will need to make sure that young people are an early adopter of digital skills. Too many of our young people leave school with little or low qualifications and are not prepared for the labour market and jobs of the future. We also have an issue in terms of careers advice and guidance, which isn't always relevant to the labour market. And employer perceptions of our young people today, they're coming back and telling us they have poor employability skills and poor communication skills. I've just outlined some of the key challenges there, but what I would like to do now is move on to some of the initiatives that we're undertaking as a council area. And again, we're focusing on the work of the digital, creative and financial technologies sector. So next slide, please. We have, as a council, with our local Northwest Regional College, our private sector training providers and our careers service invested heavily in an apprenticeship campaign. We have been rolling out a campaign since 2018. The branding of the campaign is Get Paid, Get Qualified, Get Ahead. And here what we wanted to do was promote an alternative route for young people in terms of going down the vocational educational route and that they can achieve the job of their dreams. The objectives of the campaign were to increase awareness of apprenticeships available to residents, increase the number of people taking up and completing their apprenticeship, improving the quality of apprenticeships, and promoting this as an alternative route. We have, as you will see there, a bespoke website with hosting potential careers pathways, video case studies. These are case studies from the apprentices themselves and businesses involved in delivering apprenticeships. We have on it a callback feature for young people to ask information and advice. We have, at particular times of the year when apprenticeships are being recruited, a live vacancy portal. We also complemented the website with a branded toolkit, print media, an ad shell banner and bus liner campaign, and of course today a digital marketing and social media campaign. This apprenticeship campaign we see as a five-year project, and as I say, in year 3, unfortunately due to COVID, we didn't roll out the campaign as we have previously, but now we are undertaking a research project that has been funded by the Department for Education, Department for Economy, and here we're going to go back now and baseline our apprenticeships in the council area to look at the impact of COVID and how we move forward in terms of increasing the number of apprenticeships across the digital sectors. Next slide, please. In our council area, we have 16 post-primary schools. We have forged great relationships with the principals of these schools and the careers teachers. And to that end, we host a number of careers fairs and lots of industry engagement throughout the year. Pictures here you will see of a careers event we held it was end of 2019, and it was called Unlock Your Future, where it had a focus on the application of technology to future jobs. Over 1,500 young people in the council area attended that event. Also, in terms of those events with industry, they come and attend school assemblies, they attend parent evenings, individual career events within schools, they host competitions, they provide assistance with interview skills and mock interviews. So there's really very strong connections in the council area between industry and schools. Next slide, please. We're also very fortunate in the council area to have an organisation called School Employer Connections. And this organisation manages links between the world of work and the world of education. So what it does for all the post-primary schools is it organises the work experience of where young people, what experience they want in what area, and they link the young person up with a placement with industry. They have also, due to COVID, been focused quite recently on putting together a lot of virtual resources in terms of virtual work experience and mock interviews. They've also populated an online jobs portal called Jobs for Me, which outlines jobs, roles, and features some inspiring young people in terms of their career journey. We're also very keen to provide opportunities for paid graduate placements across industry and local government. Next slide, please. We are also very proud to inform you of this unique initiative that was launched at the beginning of the school term in October 2020. We have a unique link up with the City of London, the Chartered Institute of Securities and Investment, and we are delivering to our post-primary sector a Financial Technologies Level 2 qualification. This is the first qualification to be delivered in Northern Ireland by CISI to the post-primary sector. And as this sector continues to grow, it's important to target the secondary education pupils to inspire them at this crucial point in their lives as they make decisions about their future career, job opportunities and choices. Now, due to COVID, this qualification is being delivered after school on a Tuesday over a 30-week period. And we're also training up teachers at the same time so that they can continue to deliver this qualification once this pilot has been completed. It's now being delivered from London virtually, but we would hope to deliver it locally. And also we're putting in place for the level 3 qualification to be delivered by our local college. And again, it's the first qualification that's being delivered in Northern Ireland to school pupils. So we're very proud of this initiative to support the financial services sector. Next slide, please. Industry mentoring. Yeah, something else that we have done with the local school sector is the private sector paid for IT teachers to be trained up in software development. And then they were able to deliver in their schools a qualification in software development. Now, the numbers undertaking that qualification has been increasing year on year. And what industry has continued to do is to support the curriculum and the teachers to make sure that their experience and their knowledge is up to date. So again, that qualification has been very successful in making sure there's a pipeline of talent into the digital world. Next slide, please. We have also where there has been gaps identified by our local businesses in terms of job opportunities they have but they don't have local people to fill them. We developed with the Northwest Regional College a software testing course, and it's being marketed as Kickstart Your IT Career. And what this is a skills academy delivered over a 14-week period, followed by a 4-week placement. And the people who complete the course get a level 4 diploma in software testing. It's an upskilling, and it's a reskilling course. The individuals undertake an aptitude test to go on the course. Therefore, they don't necessarily have to have an IT background. And it's been very successful at reskilling people who want to take a different direction in their career. We started our 5th academy just in January there, a couple of weeks ago. And these academies have been very successful because they're linked with industry. There's a placement and the guaranteed job interview. So we have rolled them out in other sectors as well. Next slide, please. As I had mentioned, in terms of the digital, creative and financial technology sector, it's a growing sector for our council area. So we have undertaken a scoping study, and we have over 90 businesses in the sector. We have now commissioned an interactive careers tool so that young people can go in, visit the 90 companies by clicking on their logo, getting information about the company, getting information about the careers available there, what the company does. And again, it's about making sure there's that talent pipeline. And also, it's a very useful tool in terms of inward investment, so that we can outline that there's a big growing sector here, creating thousands of jobs. Next slide, please. Linked to that digital tool, scoping the sector, we have commissioned 10 new career videos. That's a little bit of storyboarding there for you. So you'll see there'll be a lot of animation in the videos. And these videos will be linked to the interactive digital map that we have shown you beforehand. The videos are featuring young people, very relatable young people who will outline their job role, their career pathways that they have undertaken. But what we put in terms of these videos is we put a big emphasis on telling young people that they can work local, but have a global career in their in their doorstep. Because a lot of the companies on the previous map do work globally, and the people that work for them get the opportunity for a global career. And what we want to also tell our young people is that as a city, we can provide well-paid career opportunities where you can work globally in a local industry. Next slide, please. Again, we are a learning city. We are one of 5 cities in Ireland to be members of the UNESCO Global Network of Cities, and we're really, really proud of that. We are building a strategy to offer all citizens a fully flexible, lifelong learning offer to increase participation among all age groups in learning provision. As a city, we believe if people learn throughout their lives and use their skills fully and effectively at work and in society, they are generally more productive and innovative, have better health outcomes, and a higher quality of life. Next slide, please. For our last slide, I thought I would let you know about the new Northern Ireland Skills Strategy, which is currently out for consultation. There's 4 priority areas here that have been identified, and you will see that these areas obviously reflect some of the initiatives and some of the skills imbalances that we have in our council area. So the first priority of the new skills strategy is to reduce the skills imbalances in Northern Ireland. Some of the key initiatives that have been highlighted here are that we need more effective career guidance. We also need a better alignment between the supply and the demand in terms of jobs available in the council area and across Northern Ireland. We also need to reduce economic inactivity. We need to be bringing back into the labour market people who are not functioning in the labour market. We also need to improve labour mobility. In terms of priority 2, creating a culture of lifelong learning. We as a council have a lifelong learning strategy, but this is saying that Northern Ireland needs a lifelong learning strategy for each council area. We need to increase adults' motivation to learn, and we need to remove the barriers to learning, and we need to ensure that lifelong learning begins early in life and it continues throughout life. The third priority is transforming workplaces to make better use of skills. This focuses on actions around management and leadership. Also looks at developing and improving and empowering people within the workplace, and also a better utilisation of skills within the workplace. The last priority area for the new Northern Ireland Skills Strategy is strengthening the governance of skills policy. This really looks at sustainable funding and how we fund our skills going forward and make the best use of money and make the best use of best practice. It also looks at increased coordination and information across stakeholders. It needs people, it needs stakeholders to work together. And also looks at employer engagement so that we ensure what we're delivering in schools is what the employers need, and it means we can fulfill our jobs of the future. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Tina. Just reassuring to see that the work that the council has done, particularly on youth skills, and the importance of that has now been picked up and will look to be developed further by the ICC. As you said, those under the age of 25 have disproportionately been affected by the COVID crisis, and 35% of the population of the city are under the age of 25. So again, that highlights the importance of the challenge that we face. I think just before we perhaps have a break and some questions and go into the panels after the break, a question that I would put to everyone to think about is we have a challenge around economic inactivity. We've identified that people need digital skills, but perhaps how can the ICC challenge help address the issues that lead to the economic inactivity, and how can we look to address some of them? So I just remind everyone, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to use the chat or the participant function. And we've got a couple of minutes now if anyone has any pressing questions. Otherwise, we can have a short loo and drink break and then look to convene in the next 5 minutes. I don't think anyone seems to have any questions, and there doesn't appear to be any in the chat at this moment. So we'll have a short break now, and then following the break, there will be two panels. The first panel will be to discuss the skills initiatives in Derry, the ones that are in place, and the ones that the ICC are looking to propose or develop further. And then we'll hear from some of the other cities that are taking part and perhaps further along the skills journey and what we can learn from them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adam.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Adam told me to give you more 2 minutes more. Okay. Okay, I think we should start because we are 7 minutes after 11, so we are a bit late already, and we don't want to kill the entire morning. My name is Saverio Romeo. I'm the lead expert for the project. I've met quite a few of you. I can see on the chat, on the participants list, people I've talked with. And I hope to talk with all of you, hopefully also to see you, all of you, at some point of these projects. I can't wait to come to Northern Ireland for the first time in my life. Quickly, you know, my work revolves around emerging technologies between teaching and project development. So I teach in university here in London. I do projects with on IoT or blockchain, the convergence of them, and so on, for a number of organizations. My role as lead expert, I was assigned to Derry, and I was Derry, London. Derry. I was very pleased to accept it. It's a new experience for me. Previously, I was assisting Italian cities. My role as a lead expert is really to guide the city team towards the ICC methodology, to encourage them, to encourage you, to gather everyone together, the stakeholders in particular, in order to do the work. In this case, nicely, is to implement 2 or 3 initiatives in the next 1 year and a half. If we go to the next slide, we will the core of this exercise of this ICC is really collaboration internally in Derry and externally with the cities participating to the ICC, so other European cities and not only. And the next 2 panels are about that. We therefore ask about your ideas, your input, your arguments on the matter of skills and youth that we have selected. And we have a poll. You can see there on the slides all the details to fill in the poll. There are 3 questions really, and I will explain also the nature of those questions a bit later on towards the last presentation. If we go to the next slide, yeah, this is the plan for today, for this section. And I hope, hopefully, all the speakers will be, how can I say, nice with me to keep the time in the right way. We have a first panel, which there are people from Derry and the region, also from Donegal. And the idea is to ask them to tell what they are doing around skills and youth, and also what I think about should be done, also maybe in light of Tina Gillespie's presentation. There is then the second panel, which is about learning from other cities, which we are already doing into the as ICC team. Share with you a number of best practice in our opinion, and also engaging with these cities. As Dana and Margaret said, there are 100 and more cities in this project, and there are plenty of opportunities to potential collaboration, I would say, also at operational level. So we'll see from there. We have also the presence of the ICC skill thematic group, the coordinator, which has a lot of experience in skills, and it's very nice for Nis to be here. And then at the end, I need some time to, you need to resist a bit more with me, because I need to tell you what we are going to do, and I'm not going to do on my own or just with Adam and Margaret, but we want to do it all together. So I will explain quickly which are the things we have done so far and why, and what we want to do next. And what we want to do next really creates the implementation phase in this project. So without saying too much, I mean, Adam also always tell me that I talk too much, and he's right, but I stop here to start the panel. If you have questions to make things quicker, please use the chat, and I will raise the questions maybe to the panelists. So the next panel, we have four guests. I mean, there is also Tina there. If we have time, we will ask also Tina Gillespie to contribute to it. But I'll start directly with the first guest. And the first guest is Mellie Mckenna. Mellie Mckenna, she's an entrepreneur. I had a conversation with her over the phone, and she does a lot of things. I hope, Mellie, are you here with us?
I'm here, Severio.
Yeah,
yes,
great, Mellie.
Nice. Hi, how are you?
Nice to meet you again.
Great
I'm well.
to see
How are
you.
you?
I don't really think you talk. I don't think you talk too much.
Yeah,
it's all good stuff.
Anyways, it's a disease. It's my disease. Anyway, each panelist has 10 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes to tell what they do and what they'd like to do, or what they think Derry should do, at the entire maybe cross-border area should do in the area of skills and youth. Mary has a video that she wants to share, and I'll ask Maxie or Margaret to share the video. I hope she works with video. Videos are always complicated.
You might do on your own. So
it's not just another business studies class.
We cannot see.
College to encourage a new.
Videos are always tricky.
Maybe, Mary, you can tell us what the video is about.
Should I chat and then we can have the video at the end if we can get it working? If we can't get it working, I can send the link to everybody.
Okay.
So, good morning, everyone. Really nice to be here. I don't have any slides, and now I probably don't even have a video, but I'm just going to chat to you, and I probably won't take up the whole of the 10 minutes either, Severio. And I would really ask and encourage you, you know, there's lots of people on the call. If you've got any questions, please do put them up in the chat. And I'm going to just quickly tell you the story about how I came to be for 2 years, 2018 and 2019. I came to be the entrepreneur in residence at St Mary's College in Derry.
I think you should talk first, Mary, and then we'll see. If
okay, I'll just keep going then, Severio. So I'll just quickly introduce myself. I'm a technology entrepreneur, and I've worked in the technology space for about the last 20 years. It's something that I fell into myself by accident. Previous to that, I was an accountant originally, actually. And I do a lot of work these days with particularly female entrepreneurs and first-time entrepreneurs. And many of you may be aware of the company that I co-founded that's still doing really well in Derry. It's called Learning Pool. So I was one of Learning Pool's co-founders, and Learning Pool is an online education platform. And so because I'm sort of like a prominent female in tech, I often get asked the question at tech conferences all the time, why are there not more women in senior STEM roles in industry, and why is it that companies that women start get such a tiny percentage of the VC money that goes into supporting startups? And it's always a question that I really struggle to answer, because it's kind of like back to, I think, something that Tina mentioned earlier about the sort of mismatch between career guidance and the future of work. So it's one thing sort of having further education opportunities available for girls and young women. it's a completely different thing, persuading those girls and young women to avail of those opportunities and persuading their parents and showcasing for them the breadth of career opportunities that will exist. And so, you know, in the 20 years that I've worked in the technology space, the numbers of women in senior roles and women in STEM has actually been declining, which is a really worrying trend. And so my story with St. Mary's started when I showed up there, thanks to the people at Career Connections, actually, that Tina also mentioned. I showed up there to do a presentation for 20 minutes as part of Global Entrepreneurship Week 2017. And I stood up there, I chatted to the girls that were in the hall about my own career and where that had led for me. And as I was leaving the school, I was walking out with the deputy head teacher. He mentioned to me that the school had looked online to see if there were any other schools that had an entrepreneur in residence. And the only one that they could find was a private school in London where the pupils paid £20,000 a year to attend the school. Now, entrepreneurs in residence is something that is really common in the further education space. Every single university in the world probably has a group of entrepreneurs in residence whose role is to interact with the young people and chat to them about career opportunities and about the future of work, and to give them a bit of guidance about where they're going from an industry perspective. But it isn't something that happens at all in schools. So I'm an entrepreneur in residence myself at University of Oxford and at Imperial College in London. And I went home that night and I thought about those 1,000 or so girls and young women at St. Mary's College, and I thought about their uncertainty about the future for their careers. And the next morning I lifted the phone and I called Mary Lindsay, who was the principal at St. Mary's, and offered to, as part of an experiment. So, you know, I'm just a person, I'm not part of the EU, I'm not part of the council, I'm not part of an organisation, I'm just a person that spotted, I suppose, that spotted a different sort of intervention that was perhaps might be interesting to try. And so that's what happened. For the next 2 years, I went into St. Mary's one day every month. On the day that I was there, I worked with the business studies teacher, Connor Lynch, and together we delivered for the girls that were interested and that opted in. So out of the 1,000 girls at St. Mary's, 120 girls decided that they would opt in, for the programme. We delivered 4 one-hour workshops, one day a month, on various aspects of the future of work, careers guidance, careers in STEM, that sort of thing. And so we did the same workshop 4 times in the day, but obviously a different sort of delivery for the 11-year-olds than we would do for the 17-year-olds. So I can't really give you any outcomes or any measures, because it was a pilot that we tried. But there was an awful lot of engagement from the students and the pupils. It opened their eyes, and we made an effort to take them out and show them the sorts of jobs that they could access in the future. And you know, I also think that if you think today about a teenager who's maybe 14-year-old now, it's another 7 years before that teenager will graduate from university, and there's an awful lot that can happen in 7 years. You know, if you think back to all the things that didn't exist 7 years ago in technology, there's a list as long as your arm. So the future is very uncertain, and it was uncertain when we started this back in 2017. It's far more uncertain now with Brexit. Tina mentioned that COVID adversely affects the under 25s. It's also been shown that it adversely affects women as well. Many women are losing their jobs as part of the global pandemic. And so I suppose I will just finish by saying that we did our experiment for 2 years. That was the commitment that I made to the school. I didn't you know, I did it free of charge. It was something that I did as a pro bono act. And I think it was a really worthwhile project, and something that certainly St Mary's and I would have been happy to have shared with other schools, and would have been happy to help anybody from the Northern Ireland public sector who wanted to scale the programme. But we didn't have any interest from the public sector at all in working with us to do that. The BBC did come along and made a very kind of a nice little 1.5 minute long video, which I was hoping to show you, but I don't think that's going to work today. But perhaps as part of the follow-up from today's Severio, we could just include the link to people, and they could look at it if they wish.
I think we can try another time, if you don't mind. Let's see.
You might do on your own. So
It's not just another business studies class. This is a first for St Mary's College to encourage a new generation of entrepreneurs.
So what are we going to have in the future if we don't have shops?
Drones flying over and dropping our groceries down.
Who wants to be a drone driver?
Mellie Mckenna is a successful businesswoman who's here one day each month to pass on her insight and knowledge.
Jobs like childcare and nurses, those sorts of things are unlikely to ever get replaced. But many of the sort of jobs that are thought of as being really good jobs now could be some of the first ones to go. Architects, lawyers, teachers maybe, because they'll get replaced by computers and robots.
So it's great for her to come in and actually share her skills and her experience with our pupils. It's priceless, it's invaluable, that type of level of experience, and to give our girls the opportunity to speak to people who actually do it.
This will be when it all comes together for the final product.
The students have been learning all about the world of work. This fashion design hub gave them a glimpse of running a business. On another trip, the St Mary's College students were able to view the digital projects at the Multimedia Nerve Centre.
I've learned just to be yourself and do what you want to do. Fashion. I see myself opening up a fashion and designing my own clothes and selling them to all shops.
The students have found the business sessions highly challenging and entertaining. In the future, would you allow a robot to take charge of childcare, drive a bus, or fly an aeroplane? These students realise the world of work will be radically different from what has gone before, and they aim to be prepared for it. Garrett Durish, BBC Newsline, Derry.
Thank you, Mary. And thank you to the team for showing the video. I'll go. There are already some questions in the chat, but if you don't mind, I'll go directly to the next speaker, which is Nigel Mckelvey from Letterkenny Institute of Technology. If Nigel is online.
Yes, I am indeed.
Yes, Nigel. Please, nice to meet you. First of all.
Thank you.
Go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, so again, thank you very much for inviting me here today. It's great to have this opportunity to speak with you all on this really interesting and very topical point here today. So again, I'm Nigel Mckelvey. I am currently the head of flexible and online learning at the Letterkenny Institute of Technology. Prior to that, I was a lecturer in the Department of Computing for around about 10 years. And in that 10 years, we, I suppose, carved out some very interesting initiatives in the Northwest that, I suppose, really hooked into the local or the tertiary education system. So we became very involved with and collaborated with many primary and post-primary and further education institutes. And that proved very interesting and very fruitful. There was also an awful lot of learning that came off the back of that as well. And we can share some of that, some of those stories with you, and also what initiatives that we ran, what was successful, maybe what wasn't so successful, but also where we are heading with that in the future as well. So we ran various different events, and it was important that we wanted to impart to the younger community, if you like, what the discipline of computing was, because we felt that there was perhaps some misconceptions or preconceptions as to what computing and technology was, and we wanted to try and dispel some of that and be more informative because aside from the fact that we were explaining better what the discipline was to children and young people in the locality, it was also helping teachers understand the discipline better as well, so they could act, I suppose, in a more informed advisory capacity to their own students. So to that end, we ran several events that we, I suppose, made up ourselves, such as the Tech Me Up events and the UCode competitions. And what that did was it allowed post-primary schools to come into LYIT, see the facilities first and foremost, but also hear from some of the lecturing and academic and technical staff in the institute about all the various different programs that were on offer in LYIT. And because there were competitions, it allowed different schools to meet. It allowed or created almost like a community of practice for teachers to be able to meet each other, discuss the needs of their own students. And it was a really interesting way to get kids involved in technical computing related projects, activities, tasks. They learned about problem solving, they learned about logic, they learned a bit about programming. They also learned about the importance of communicating effectively that design, if you like, of a program or of an artifact of some description. And then we would have obviously some special guests that would come in and be able to, I suppose, bring a bit of celebrity status to these events as well, which kept kept everyone engaged, and it kept the going over a number of years. So we had huge uptake on that. I remember one particular UCO competition that I was presiding over, and we had, I think there was 142 students there that morning competing in that event, which was fantastic. So those were schools from the County Donegal region, but also into County Tyrone and into Derry as well. So we had a fantastic mixture. We also run and have run very successfully the Vex Robotics, where again, it's a national event, but we have lots of primary school kids take place in a robotics competition, and the event is hosted in LYIT. Those kids get to have the robots essentially sent out to their schools. So the teachers come in, they get trained by the lecturing staff in LYIT how to use the robotics and how to set them up. And then they take the robots back to their own schools, and they set up teams of kids to work on a particular task. And then those kids come in, and I don't remember I can't remember the name of the show back in the late 80s, early 90s. It used to be on every Saturday night, where you used to have people with their robots, Robot Wars. That's what it was. The event was essentially like a Robot Wars, where kids had to program their devices in competition with each other. And obviously the best device won on the day. Those kids had some fantastic opportunities that came off the back of that as well. And it also, it let people see that computing wasn't necessarily all about programming either. There are so many different facets to technology, so many different areas of computing that people can get into. So we found that, you know, the outreach programs that we used both in drones, robotics, in coding, also in digital citizenship, wearable technologies, those different types of tech and those different types of sort of disciplines that sit within computing helped us to bring more females onto programs as well, because we did notice an increase in the number of female computing students joining our undergraduate and postgraduate programs, as well as a result of these events running over a period of time. And that was something that we found very interesting, because we had noticed a dip in the gender balance in preceding years up until that point. Coder dojos were also something that were hugely successful, and arguably was the inaugural hook, if you like, for LYIT to engage with both youth reach organizations, primary and post-primary. So what we did there was we allowed our own students in LYIT to go out to various locations and help either teachers or youth centers or different organizations set up coder dojos, and then act as mentors if needed, or train their staff to be the mentors in those coder dojos or in those coding clubs if they didn't want to follow the coder dojo philosophy. Again, that proved very, very successful. And in exchange for that, because our own students were facilitating and running these events, We allowed those students to get accredited certificates in social and civic engagement, perhaps student-led initiatives or in peer mentoring awards. So our own students were getting additional skills. They were gaining communication skills. They were gaining skills in, I suppose, in empathy and showing empathy, but also how to sit down with their peers and impart their own knowledge and their own skills. We found that hugely successful. Again, my own sort of personal interest really is in this space of digital citizenship. Digital citizenship sort of encompassing digital literacy, but also the legal do's and don'ts with regard to how technology is used. And added to that, we have, as it was embedded within digital citizenship, the theme of digital well-being as well. So, you know, we talk to schools and their wider, the wider school community. So other stakeholders such as parents, management, the kids themselves. We talk to them about positive engagement and positive usage of technology. We also talk to them about digital detoxing and when it's good to switch off, which we also think is quite important, and perhaps that is amplified with our current pandemic situation at the moment, where we find ourselves perhaps continually on call or continually getting alerts for X, Y, and Z. We think it's important as well to sort of impart knowledge around that and sort of good skills, if you like, of how to do that. I've gone out and given various different talks in schools, as have colleagues, around areas of cyber safety and good digital usage and positive digital usage. So just want to move on to the next slide there. Again, in LYIT, we are very cognizant of the fact that teachers, I suppose, are they're meeting younger people every day of the week. We felt in consultation with teachers that they perhaps weren't confident in introducing technology and technical activities to their own students because they didn't feel comfortable or confident themselves in being able to, I suppose, oversee those tasks or those activities. So to that end, we developed a higher diploma in computing for educators. There are 6 modules in it, 10 credits, level 8 ECT modules. And the beauty of it is that a teacher can actually sign up to undertake just one of those modules. So they didn't have that, I suppose, fear of committing to a full higher diploma. They could just sign up to one module, gain those skills, get comfortable, and if they felt confident, they would then continue, and invariably they did. We've had a huge national uptick in the number of teachers taking that program of study. And in fact, several of those teachers, when they completed that HDIP, gained approval from Teaching Council as a result of that as well, which was hugely significant for them. To that end, we also developed a postgraduate, a Master of Science in Computing Education Research, which again allows teachers to go that extra mile if that's what they wanted to do, if they really felt, I suppose, passionate about that discipline as well.
Nigel, I can give you another minute. Then
okay, no problem. I'm almost finished. So the final 3 bullet points there are just to highlight to you all the main themes or the main domains that exist within the postgraduate department, particularly at LYIT. So we have AI, machine learning, big data, analytics, DevOps, digital security, design thinking, AR, VR. And I suppose to say as well that we work very closely with organizations, both north and south of the border, with regard to developing, refining, and evolving those programs of study in a very quick turnaround. Has been our real selling card and our real success over the past number of years is that we are actively meeting local industry needs. But again, I'm happy to take any questions, also to give more information or talk outside of this forum, even if necessary.
Thank you, Nigel. I can see the chat is buzzing, but I will go to the next speaker because we are quite late and we have other speaker, external speaker from Europe. Mary Nigel from University of Ulster. I'm sure I've not pronounced well your name. Are you there?
Hello, Savara. It's Myron. Myron Nigel.
Myron, nice. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Well,
10 minutes to you, yeah.
Thank you, Savario. I'd just like to say I'm honoured to be able to take part in this opening of our Intelligent Cities Challenge here today. So I just want to talk a little bit, I suppose, about what we do within our school. The school that I belong to is the School of Computing, Engineering and Intelligent Systems, and that's based on the McGee campus of Ulster University. The picture here that I have on the front, the first slide, is of our fabulous main building known as the McGee building, which represents the history of the campus, leading back to the 1850s, when it was money was betrothed by Martha McGee in order to set up a college in this area. So we have a long history in education, and it's fabulous to see the expansion of our campus going forward. Could I have the next slide there, please? So within our school and within our courses, really I thought I would break down exactly what our students learn, first of all, into the core subject areas that are taught across our courses. We do have a range of specific courses, some of which will have then subject-specific modules. So by and large, you know, this is the list of the subjects that our students will learn across our courses as fundamental knowledge. And then, depending upon the course that they actually take, we will develop their skills in whether that's AI and machine learning, or whether it's in electronics, or in web design, web development technologies. Next slide, please. So this is the list here of the courses that we have, and you know that we recruit students to. So you can see there, because we are a School of Computing, Engineering and Intelligent Systems, we have that spectrum of courses, from the computing courses there listed at the top to the engineering courses. I myself, whilst I'm a senior lecturer and I have a number of teaching and research duties, my main role is as undergraduate courses coordinator. So those top 5 courses there, I look after them, and approximately 700 students would be registered on those courses. So I would teach predominantly across year 1 and year 2, giving me the opportunity in those early years to get to know my students, and would have a big input into their development of their skills at an early stage. Now for me, in and around all of these courses, there's embedded employability skills. So we're talking here today about skills and skills development, and about how there's that mismatch between what employers want and what our students can provide. We have embedded employability skills from day one within all of these courses. Our students are told about their employment whenever they register on their course, and we start developing those, I suppose, transferable skills from day one. So we do engage an awful lot with industry in making sure that all of these courses are relevant and up to date. And we have excellent connections with a range of different, not only local employers, but also global employers, because our students really do go worldwide within their courses. So next slide, please. So how then do we develop these skills in Derry? Well, I suppose for me, I like to take a personalised approach to our teaching. We do have a lot of one-to-one mentoring that goes on within our courses to develop the skills within, to develop the skills alongside each of our individual students. We employ our final years to mentor our first year students, and that program has worked extremely well over the years, because the final years have just come off placement, and they're then going back and developing that close rapport relationship with those new first year students, and you know, being that mentee and that guide really does benefit the students as they go through their course. We do have fantastic facilities on our campus there. The middle picture, that's a picture of the a brand new Allstate lab that was opened just last year. It was sponsored by Allstate. It really is top-notch equipment there that the students have access to, and then obviously we do have that very close relationship with Allstate, and Allstate would be a massive employer of our students. The third picture there is of some of our prize winners. Because of our close relationships that we have with industry, we have a number of prizes that we give out that are sponsored by industry, either a trophy or some kind of financial prize. It varies across the range, but we do celebrate our students and award them and reward them for the hard work and the effort that they have put in during their course. So we have a range of courses there that we do take the time to showcase and celebrate that talent that we do have. Next slide, please. For me, the big thing about our students, why do our students come to university? Well, our students come to university to secure a graduate job. So that's why I said that from day one, you know, employability is embedded across everything that we do. And our students do as well have a compulsory placement. Their third year is spent out in industry, either in a work-based setting, or some of our students would choose to go global and to study abroad in another institution, whether that is in USA, or we have a bespoke connection with Japan, with Hiroshima. So this slide here just shows, you know, I would really need a bigger slide to put on the logo of all the companies that we do work with, but this shows you some of the employers that we are closely connected to, who take our students for placement. And I'm a firm believer that if our students get placement, they will get a graduate job. So we work from day one of registering in year one with developing those employability skills, with the objective of supporting the students to secure placement. And if they can secure placement, they will secure a graduate role. We have been very successful in doing that, and I'm very pleased to be able to say that 94% of our graduates are employed in graduate level roles within 6 months of graduating. And that's an extremely, you know, we're really proud of that statistic within our school, because it just shows that although it is an awful lot of hard work and it's an awful lot, it's resource intensive to support the students, it does pay off, and it pays dividends for us and for them at the end of their studies. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned there, the students can choose to go and study abroad. This slide here is a slide of the relationship that we have with the Prefectural University of Hiroshima in Japan. Each year for the past 4, this will be the 5th year, 5 of our students have been lucky enough to secure a scholarship to go out there and study for the year, and it is absolutely life-changing for those students, that experience. I was lucky enough 2 years ago to be able to go out and visit them, so therefore I have some first-hand pictures there of it. But those students, they come back completely different people from that experience. They really do cut the apron strings whenever they go to Japan. So it's a fantastic opportunity for them.
Mellie, we have 1 minute more.
1 minute, yeah, thank you. So, well, I suppose this is obviously, I mentioned there, we have a really close relationship with Allstate, and Clyde Hunt there is pictured on the slide as someone who is regularly engaged and involved with me throughout the courses. And I suppose what he's just saying there is he's giving kudos to us for the interviews that he took part in for placement opportunities for the students, and how well those students presented themselves, their knowledge, their skills was all exceptionally high. So that for me is proof that, you know, yeah, we are doing the right thing here, which is good. So next slide, please. I'll move on past that. That's just NSS results, National Student Survey. So yeah. So what initiatives then do we do? I suppose, and when I was listening to Nigel, I suppose we're all singing off the same hymn sheet. We all want to inspire the young people to get involved in developing their career in this sector. So very similar to what Nigel just spoke about, you know, we do a range of different initiatives with secondary and even primary schools in our area. Our student population would be predominantly from the northwest and the southwest of Northern Ireland. We do have small pockets of recruitment from around Belfast, Newry and Banbridge, but they are in single figures. So we're predominantly upskilling the kids in our sector of the province. So the primary schools and the secondary schools that we engage with are all from travelling distance of our campus. So between 2009 and 2016, we engaged with a total of 900 pupils. That was in primary schools where we were involved in a competition to develop a digital project. The result of the digital project, then the winning school were able to win technology for their school. I'm very heavily involved with Owen and the School Employers Connections since 2010, and to date we have had 700 year 13 pupils attend our campus for placement workshops. We get involved in a range of school outreach visits. We bring schools into our facilities in non-COVID times in order for them to tour the facilities and see what goes on behind the doors of our building. And we also support several teaching initiatives in upskilling teachers in programming, electronics, and in 3D printing as well, for example.
Can I interrupt you there? I'm sorry, because we need a bit more of time for the rest. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
Okay, Fergal Taffy, please, 10 minutes for you.
Okay, so
are you there?
Yep,
Hi.
Yep.
Nice to see you again. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Soraya. And thanks to say everybody for having me. So, my name is Fergal Tuffy, and I'm Technology Innovation Manager at the Northwest Regional College. And I suppose really in terms of what we do, it's all about developing skills, fostering innovation, and then I suppose applied research in terms of the applied part being getting our sleeves rolled up and helping small businesses and entrepreneurs to develop their products for market. So if I can move to the next slide, please. So in that vein, I suppose there are two main angles from the Business Support Centre, which I'm focusing on today, that we work with people on. So first of all, it's from the skills development perspective, and we're very focused, I suppose, in terms of the lifelong learning agenda and assisting people who are already in work to develop their skills and hopefully progress within their employment and progress to new roles. So we deliver a lot of bespoke training for industry responsive to what the business wants, and that's developed through our curriculum teams within the college across a wide range of areas. Also then in terms of the industry perspective, it's intentionally a small R and a big D. So less on the blue skies research side where the university in particular would have their strengths, and more on the development side, getting our sleeves rolled up and working with entrepreneurs and small businesses to help them develop new products and services, often which can be sold in the market once we finish the support with the businesses, entrepreneurs. And that would be across the areas of, for example, food technology, ICT and creative and digital media, and engineering and product design. And we have employed a team of technical staff across those areas who work with entrepreneurs and small businesses to help them develop their products and take them to market. So I'd say it's very much skills and technology focused from that perspective. Moving on to the next slide, on the training perspective, some of the angles that, and I say these are just a few of them that we are supporting businesses and also the wider population in the Northwest area. The Skills Focus Programme is a programme funded by our funding department called the Department of Economy. And it's industry training for staff who are employed in businesses at qualifications of level 2 and above. And this really is dependent upon what the employer wants their staff to be trained on, and also the needs of their business. So we go in and we deliver the training to meet the needs of the business. Tina and the council mentioned earlier about higher level apprenticeships, and we have a great collaboration with the council in terms of raising the profile and awareness of higher level apprenticeships, where students are in the college 1 day per week, and the remainder of the time they are with the employer. So they earn as they learn, and we have a range of higher level apprenticeships across the areas of accounting, tourism and hospitality, childcare, engineering, and software also. So the Assured Skills Academies, which I'll mention a bit more, are pre-employment training, and these are for graduates for new roles, and these could be existing businesses who are looking to increase their employment numbers, or it could be businesses who are looking to establish a base in the area for indirect investment. And these are where people who are unemployed are trained specifically for the needs of these businesses. So they get the training, and then at the end of it, they are guaranteed an interview with a company and hopefully progress to employment. And over 95% of these people do progress into employment in these companies. So they're a very good route for people to gain training and also gain employment as well. In recent times, because of COVID and the pandemic that everybody's been facing into, we've also secured funding from the Department of Economy for a range of training interventions for people who are have been affected by the pandemic. And these are people who could have been furloughed or made redundant as a result of the pandemic. So I'll mention those and a couple of interventions as examples in a few moments as well. So can move to the next slide, please. So in terms of the COVID skills and courses that we've developed, some of the examples are here. So Tina mentioned in terms of the Kickstart software course, where people who are unemployed are coming on and getting the training and qualifications in IT industry, and then they will have a placement with companies, and nearly all of those participants progress to employment, which is a major success and a great collaboration between ourselves and the council. So something that we have piloted this year was a Future Leaders program. And again, these were people who are unemployed. They have come into the college, albeit remotely now through COVID, and have done an ILM Level 5 qualification in leadership and management. And as part of that course, they've done placements with businesses as well across a wide range of sectors. So we have 15 people who have come onto that, and all have now been placed and going very well. So we hope that those people, as well as getting the qualification and the placement, that again, they will progress into employment too. So some of the other courses that we are offering through the COVID pandemic and this COVID skills funding are, like, for example, transport and export documentation, which again, I suppose with Brexit coming on, these are training for people to make them aware of new and upcoming guidelines as a result of Brexit and customs and exports. So, and then as well as that, we're working on the likes of coded welding, for example, where again there's a demand for businesses in terms of recruiting people to do welding, and we're taking in people who are unemployed, putting them through an 8-week intensive training program, and then having them placed with businesses for 2 weeks at the end of it. And again, the large portion of those people are kept on by the businesses then, and get jobs out of it. So, and then also in terms of health and social care, where we do a lot of training, end of life care. So those are just some examples of COVID training that we have delivered and are delivering in the past 3 to 6 months as a result of the pandemic to help people increase their employment opportunities. So move to the next slide. So I mentioned in terms of the academies, those are some examples of academies that we have successfully delivered with Vintru, Alchemy, Danske Bank. And again, in terms of those academies, over the past 3 years, over 200 people have gained employment with those companies as a result of coming on and undertaking the training at the college. And I suppose even looking, for example, at the Vintru one, which is, again, has been a collaboration with Ulster University and Marin's team there. So it shows the joint up approach that there has been in terms of working with the council to secure these employers and with Invest Northern Ireland to get them into the Northwest and create jobs in the Northwest. So moving to the next slide, please. The last piece I'll touch on is within the college we've invested in a range of innovation centres. So to date we have innovation centres in food innovation, product design and assisted living. So these centres have received an investment of over £2 million, and what they do is, I suppose, they work with entrepreneurs and small businesses with our technical staff to help them develop new products and new services for the market. So our staff work with the business, doing technical mentoring with them, showing them how to do different things, and again increasing their skills, often which aren't qualification based, but help them develop products for market. In terms of looking at the future roadmap in terms of where we're going, we have employed staff who are now looking at augmented and virtual reality, and we're looking at investing in a centre in this area called the XR Centre. And we're also looking at Industry 4.0 in terms of making an investment in this area also. And I say that the main aim of these is to increase the pipeline of people setting up businesses, support them with skills and help them bring products to market, which hopefully will allow them to create wealth and jobs in the Northwest. So I think that's my slides now. So I'll say my contact details. I'm happy to share them if anyone wants to speak to me with anything.
Fergal, thank you so much. Very, very nice, quick and easy. We are 35 minutes delayed. Yeah, but live online is not perfect. So I need to go to the, I want now to show you a bit of examples of coming from cities which we are working with, and we want to work more. I want to start with the Paulina Arivarra from Pori. Paulina, are you there? Yeah. I don't know if we can put the presentation from Paulina. Paulina, can you tell us what you do about your Robcast and the innovation hub you are working on in Pori? Paulina, we cannot hear you. Are you there? Paulina? No. Maybe we can go to... There is no sound, Paulina. Okay, shall we move to the next one, maybe to Iman Beschouvel from the House of Skills in Amsterdam. Iman, are you there? Iman has left.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Iman. Great. Let's start with you. And I'll leave you the floor to you. You have 10 minutes. I'm very sorry. We plan to start at 11:25, but it's midday, and you will forgive me. It's all my fault.
It's no problem at all.
Okay, go ahead.
I will make it short. Thank you for the invite. It's good to be back in Northern Ireland, this time in a digital way. I have a pleasant visit of Belfast in 2003. Okay, my name is Iman Biesheuvel. I have a history in professional sport, healthcare and government. And I will tell you something about the program House of Skills in Holland, in Amsterdam. The program of House of Skills started 3.5 years ago under the wings of the city of Amsterdam. And now we are working towards an independent network organization. Our primary aim is working towards a skills-oriented labor market. The World Economic Forum has underlined the importance of skills in a recent paper. Skills can be seen as the currency of the labor market. Next slide, please. The principle of House of Skills is based on knowledge, research, and practice. In fact, we are building a proof of concept. The metropolitan region Amsterdam covers almost 20% of the GDP of Holland, 2.5 million inhabitants, and 1.5 million jobs are found there. Some partners of House of Skills, the local governments, universities, research institutes, and vocational education. Next slide, please. The labor market is this time the Achilles heel of our economy. Jobs change and disappear because of technological developments. It happened in history and it will go on in the future in a faster pace. Education is not well connected with jobs that are in need. The problem is only getting bigger with the COVID crisis. Job loss leads not directly to mobility towards new jobs or even intersectoral mobility. The conclusion is that the labor market needs to be more adaptive and agile. The approach we used to do in history will not make the difference. Next slide, please. House of Skills, together with the partners, make the first steps to a more fundamental solution. A skills-oriented labor market, where supply and demand will be better matched by skills, and where education and work are better connected, leads to a more fundamental solution, a lasting change for the future. Next slide, please. I would like to talk to you about the aim of House of Skills. We seek to realize structural mobility to and between work, both in economic downturn or economic boom. We aim to reduce mismatches by investing in lifelong learning and strengthening the long-term employability. And our strategy includes developing a shared skills foundation and instruments that support its realization, and developing a service chain model in and between the domains of education and the labor market. We have built a skills fundament based on the expert-driven taxonomies, ESCO, which is European, and ONET, that is American. At this moment, we are developing towards a data-driven taxonomy. This is something we do in collaboration with relevant national institutes like the UFA, that is the Employee Insurance Agency, the SBB, that's the Corporation Organization Vocational Education, and CBS, that's the Central Bureau of Statistics. Next one, please. Skills are necessary to make a difference on the labor market and make a link with the education. At this moment, we combine ESCO, ONET, and Competent, that's a Dutch taxonomy, to a new skills language in Holland. House of Skills is therefore a proof of concept, and we would like to show you that it works. The last 3 years, we have developed some instruments I would like to focus now on. First of all, there's the fitting room. Here you can develop a skills profile, and the employer can make a skills profile of a job and then make a match. This is based on ONET. Next to that, we have the platform My House of Skills, that is ESCO oriented. Here you can match your work experience with the real-time labor market. Besides, we can develop a personal skills passport, and we supply skills-oriented career coaching. We are now in the phase of integrating these instruments, connecting the taxonomies. We are using, for instance, the products that Nesta developed. I would like to point out how we're using these instruments in our sectoral transfer points to create intersectoral mobility. Amongst others, we give training to professionals who can use this knowledge and instruments afterwards to help the target audience towards the labor market on a new job. Next one, please. Here you can find the 4 steps of our service change model, enlisting, assessment, matching, and education and placement. And all of this is, of course, skills-based. Next one, please. Career path. At this moment, we are creating career path for several jobs. Career path for intersectoral mobility to sectors where there are a lot of vacancies, like IT, healthcare, logistics, construction, and jobs related to our green ambition. Often jobs where reskilling is required. It's important to know House of Skills is responsible for connecting the chain by using the skills language. Every partner brings in their own instruments, for instance, the vocational institutes. Next one, please. I will skip this one. A nice example of field lab where House of Skills is connected is from Air to Care. Working as a flight attendant, Karin made the change to work in the elderly care, where her skills, hospitality and stress resistant, are very useful. Skills are the base of this transition to work. And the last one, please. In short, this is what it's all about: preparing people for the future of work. First of all, make the vacancy skills-based, develop a skills profile, match with work, education of skills, and learning by doing. I hope this was short enough.
Fantastic, Iman. You are my hero. Thank you so much. I'll try now with Paulina again. Paulina. Oh.
Yes, hello.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Hi.
Perfect.
Hi,
Just a sec. Hello, hi. I will just try if my video is working as well.
Yeah, can you? I don't know if we are able to put the presentation, or maybe you can tell us quickly in 5-10 minutes what you do, what the organization does.
Yes, that's a good idea. We don't have too much time. Maybe I can open the slide for a slide which has my contact info, and then I can share some ideas from the digital city and intelligent city of Pori. So this is my maybe idea, or you will share the slides as well for the participants, right?
Yeah, I will share the slides. I will share all the details and so on. We
Yes.
have a problem in uploading now, so if you can just tell us quickly in 10 minutes, 5 minutes what you do, and how your hub is working, in which areas and so on.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Sorry for that.
No, it's perfect. So hello everyone, thanks for the invitation. I am really happy to be here. Firstly, the Intelligent Cities Challenge is a great opportunity, and I have learned already a lot which I can take to colleagues in Pori. A few words. Pori is a city in the west coast of Finland, and we are very, let's say, engineer-minded and technology-minded. Even though it might be more from the national Finland point of view, one of the maybe good examples of reskilling and upskilling is elements of AI, which is now EU-wide initiative which opens up opportunities for everyone to learn AI, and it's done in Finland, obviously, and we are happy to support these initiatives as well. But we, Pori, as an intelligent city, we are an industrial area, but also widely area with lots of robotics and AI companies. This is something which we have developed, and we used to be known as industrial area, but now we are even more strongly focused on digital industry and robotics and other technologies. So this is maybe the background where we let's say where most of our initiatives come from. We start from the industry, and we start with the companies, and then we create our models. If Saverio will share our examples, there are a few examples in the slides later, so you can take a look at them. But our focus has always been very company-centered. And then we create our employment and upskilling services based on company needs, and this is something that we spend a lot of time to create these services based on companies. our area, of course, has also universities, and we are finding more emphasis on universities and especially university-led upskilling initiatives. In my examples, the local technical universities are very much involved, but I would highlight the cooperation between cities and also cooperation inside Europe. Companies have different kind of needs, and we have different centers with certain kinds of strengths, and that's why when we upskill or create new trainings, we should always find the best teachers from universities or areas where the experts are, and due to, maybe we can also be grateful for the new digital transition which we have made in training and upskilling, because this has enabled us to create even wider initiatives for national wide trainings, but also trainings which are available for different kind of different countries, I would say. Maybe for the intelligent cities initiatives, I would like to mention also Teemu Heino. So if you have any questions for Pori and what we do in terms of industrial sector, in terms of robotics cluster, we are happy to help you with all of those things. And also our universities offer a lot of online training which are available for European wide as well. So that's something which I would like to invite you to contact us. But we are happy to share our examples, and our companies are also adding their role in providing services. For example, we have Hedai, which is one of the companies born from Pori actually, but their strength is let's say finding the right skills needed for certain jobs for today, but also for tomorrow. So we are utilizing the public sector, but even more strongly the private sector for finding the needed skills and also assessing the skills need for companies. So these are maybe our strengths in the area in terms of, let's say, services which we use, and also one of the strengths is definitely combining different kinds of resources. I am here with the Intelligent Cities Challenge, but I have mentioned here also other initiatives in which we combine our skills and upskilling initiatives. And all of these initiatives are company born or industry need born. So we have started most of our initiatives from the company needs, and this is actually then when we are looking new sources and new tools for and solutions for, let's say, youth unemployment and so on. We start with the companies and then look paths which will end up in the companies. But companies are definitely a strong partner and also participate to our services. So that's our role in tackling employment, also for the corona crisis, I would say. Of course, digital skills is the key here. So if we think about the industrial jobs and future careers, we would say that digital skills are the key here. So in those terms, we always have to maybe choose the most, let's say, the companies which have good guesses for the future skills. So that's why we are looking for the digital companies also to share their guesses for future skills, and then we do quick pilots and learn new ways to find career paths also for the unemployed.
Thank you, Paulina.
Thank you
so much for staying with us so long. I'm very sorry.
Yes. No, it's thank you, and you will get the slides and also my contact information. So we are happy to contact and find partners in Europe as well. So thank you for the opportunity.
We will talk more during the project.
Definitely. Thank you.
Everyone, stay with me another 10 minutes. I know we are almost late. I need to have Niels van der Linden with me. And Niels is the coordinator of the skill group of the ICC. Niels, if you can give us 5 minutes maybe of your knowledge and your role that will be useful, and then I will conclude with another 10 minutes so you can leave at 12:30 for your lunch. Please, Niels. Niels, can you hear us? We cannot hear you. Niels, we have problem with Niels. Maybe.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Oh yes, yes. Hi Niels, how are you? Go ahead, please. Sorry for the delay.
No worries. Thank you very much, Saverio. And first of all, my compliment for organizing this event. I mean, the first step in reskilling strategies is always bringing together the community, the ecosystem, and to build on that. So it's great to hear all those practices and initiatives already being started in Derry. And also very good to hear from the other cities involved in ICC. I will keep it really short. I can summarize this basically in 2 minutes. So to help you finish in time, the whole idea of the thematic track, we know skills are an important framework condition for a strong economy and society. Next slide, please. We also know that successful initiatives in reskilling strongly build on 3 elements. That is, they're industry-led, to shape and define demand. They're government-driven, governed, funded partly as well, and smart as much as possible to collect good intel on future needs. And of course, education and training sector is an essential part of it to be able to basically match the demands in industry, short and long term. We can talk about this picture forever, but let's move to the thematic track in ICC, because that's what you asked me to shortly capture. And if you would like to move to the next slide, please, and even one further. We want to help in this thematic track. Next slide, please. We want to help cities in this thematic track with some different activities within the scope that we have. So this is focus on information, providing information from other good cities, from good practices, and so on. It's about initiating, facilitating the collaboration between cities. So is there a joint demand? Can we match those cities up and bring together, be it mentees or mentor cities? So there's a whole spectrum possible. There is room to provide some ad hoc support and coaching via thematic experts that can help a city to advance. And one of the things we're working on now is very practical guidance. So what are, and that feeds into the next slide, a skills guide. So a very hands-on guide that supports cities in their reskilling and upskilling journeys. This is based on all the good practices that will be part of it, but also think of relevant frameworks and tools that have already been developed elsewhere or within the European Commission. So for instance, I saw the word entrepreneurship somewhere in one of the presentations. There's a whole frameworks and collection of good practices around entrepreneurial skills and how you can embed that in education. Much more. All of these examples we want to collect, at least a reference in a guide that is practical, so one city can navigate through whatever is in their need. That's very practical. And just to the last slide, so that can also be on very specific topics. So I understand that, one back please. So for instance on young people not in education, employment or training, the so-called needs, there is already quite some interesting studies and examples available within work that's been done by public employment sectors and for DG Employ in the Commission. So these can be very practical guides on outreach activities, for instance, on learnings. And so I guess this can also help you inspire and shape the activities in Derry. And yeah, basically to conclude, I think from what I've heard today, I'm amazed by all the many initiatives that are already taking place. So I think the first step is already there, bringing the ecosystem together, starting initiatives, and yeah, the challenge will be in progressing it and really making that collaboration a success. But from what I've seen here, I think you're really on the good path. Compliments, and from the ICC thematic track, we can offer as much support and help as possible. So I'll leave it here, so you'll have time to close, Saverio. Adam and Margaret as well, thank you very much, and all the best of luck.
Thank you, Niels. We look forward to work with you. If someone can put the slides, I will conclude. I mean, I plan to have a presentation, but I don't want to kill everybody. For your next slide, if we go to slide next, sorry, the previous one. Okay, here the issue was, as you saw from Dan and Margaret, we had a number of thematic tracks to work on if we wanted on the ICC. And at the beginning, we also thought maybe we should focus on 2, but then I think the conversation we had with various stakeholders like you, and the indication also from the activity that the council is doing was clearly on skills, and the focus really that we have chosen to take is on skills and youth and young people and young development. And we identified 3 layers really of criticalities, if you want, of problems in this topic. As you can see there, let's say that the first layer, the bottom, the down one, is the problem of taking young people into work. So the culture of work, the culture of job, understanding the importance of digital technologies into the culture of work. We also thought about the need of give a response, for example, to the unemployment in the hospitality sector, how to help them moving into new areas, into new work, and you see House of Skills is a great inspiration for that. There is a second layer of work that we believe is important, is about tell young people that there is a great city and you can work and do some cool stuff there and live and be successful. And this is an area in which has been highlighted by several stakeholders that needs to be emphasized more, needs to be worked on more. And then there is let's say, in my opinion, the easiest level in some way, which is the training of advanced technologies. I mean, easiest because we have seen plenty of initiatives on how to do that, or what to do, on what can be done from other cities and so on. We do not want to invent the wheel. After 4-6 weeks of work in Derry, I realized that Derry was already at a certain level in comparison to other cities I've previous experience with. We want to build on it. We want to optimize maybe processes and initiatives that have been in place. I mean, the case of Mellie Mckenna of the entrepreneur in residence is a very interesting one. I've done one on myself as a technologist in residence, so a very impactful one. So we want to understand how to work together with all the stakeholders in the city, and not only with them, to optimize all these that have somehow been discussed by all the speakers today, in order to achieve some objectives and some tangible outcomes. Together with stakeholders, we have identified some initiatives. Yeah? And here you see a list. The color coding is initiatives that fits to the advanced technology, some other to the skill and future for all, and so on. This is a list of, I'm not going through all of them because we do not really have the time, but basically on one side you have initiatives like, for example, the idea of a creative industry accelerator, which is in the area of entrepreneurships, or building with Fergal, for example, on XR Derry network or XR Derry initiatives, and maybe working also with the University of Ulster there. And then we want to use the transversal services that Dana was talking about. So, for example, we want to really use the open data training that the ICC will offer. And we want to take this open data training and fit in various initiatives that we can do and with various stakeholders. And then we have the idea of maybe empowering, working on the marketing campaign. For example, Tina Gillespie discussed in her presentation, targeted maybe more towards young people that need to come into the workplace, in the job environment, and tell them the story. So we want to maybe the idea of creating a skill youth center, maybe in line, I don't know if you know, the talent center in the city of Graz, in which there is a physical space where, you know, companies and young people meet, and they discuss not necessarily in a job interview environment. So all these type of initiatives we have in mind. Now, we cannot do all of them, obviously, and because the beauty of the ICC is that there is a very long implementation phase. We are not going to do strategic work, it's very operational. We need to put in place 2 or 3 initiatives and work towards them, develop them, and see the impact, the evaluation at the end of it. And we want to do that with you. If you go to if you go further down in the slides a bit more, go down. Yeah, here, previous one. Okay, this work of now understanding which potential initiatives can be developed, and this list I showed you can be enriched. In fact, we ask in the poll, if you have ideas, please go ahead, tell us. But from this block set group of initiatives, we need to identify 2 or 3 to work on. And this process of identifying, of selection, needs to come with a strategy roadmap development, which is part of the methodology, which is a collaborative task between us as a team, as ICC team, the community, the Derry community, the stakeholders, the collaboration with the ICC, therefore with NILS, and the collaboration with other cities. I think the real value of this project is really the capability, the possibility, the opportunity to work together with other cities and be operational with other cities. I'm giving an example. In the area of AI, I can see already that maybe we can think about something to develop together between us, the stakeholders in Derry, and Pori and Paulina. So this is the process we want to put in place. To put that process in place, if we go to the next slide, we do 2 things. The first thing, as an ICC team, we collaborate with the other ICC cities. And when we can identify some real potential collaboration, we will invite stakeholders in this collaboration, because at the end of the day, it's not Saverio developing the initiatives, but it's the stakeholder involved in Derry developing the initiatives. And then we need to discuss together as local stakeholder which initiatives are more feasible, more realistically feasible, because we have money to do it. Let's be honest. Let's not go around. We need money to develop this stuff. We need resources. We need commitment. In order to select that, the ICC methodology requires, rightly so, a strategy roadmap workshop, which we will hold as an ICC team with you in the first part of February, we hope. We will find a proper way of doing it in a COVID scenario, because the workshop was designed maybe with the idea that I could come to there and do it all things together in a nice location, but I don't think we can. So we will design maybe with the team a way of doing it, but what really we want, what really I want from you is to be with us, to come to this workshop and spend 1 hour of your time, of your precious time, to select together these initiatives to do, and therefore move to the next step. And really, I want to finish with an invitation. We will be in touch with you via email to create this workshop. and to discuss more, I will strongly invite you, I'm strongly inviting you to fill in the poll. If there are ideas that are not there, that we missed, that we did not discuss in today's event, please fill in. I know it's a difficult topic to address, particularly the first two layers of our framework are quite complicated, so please feel free to tell everything you think. And with that, if we go to the next slide, I think we finish it. Yeah, I really thank you so much for being with us from 2 hours to almost 2 hours and a half. I'm sorry to be late on the schedule. I'm sorry with the speakers, particularly Neil, Seaman, Pauline. I'm sorry to be too late. And thank you to Margaret and Adam and all the ERNAC team for organizing the event. Thank you to the mayor to be with us, to all the speakers, and thank you to you to be with us for all this time. I really hope to see you at workshop, and I wish you a good day. I mean, Margaret, Adam, do you want to say something more?
If you could go on to the next slide, Maisha, I think we have the poll. There it is. So that's going to stay open for a few days. There's quite a lot of potential initiatives, so it'll give you time to mull it over and think about it. And all I can say is I think it's been a really great event, and it's been made great by all the inputs that we've had. It's a pity we were so short on time, because there's quite a few questions there in the chat that we haven't really got to, about women in tech and what's the future of online interactions. But we'll have time to talk again, and I hope you'll continue to engage with us and see what a difference we can make for the city and the region. Adam, I'll leave it to you.
Thanks for all the speakers and everyone who contributed towards the call today. Again, apologies we didn't get to address some of the questions that Margaret just raised. However, I mean, feel free to comment in the Slido poll if you have any additional questions or suggestions as well. The Slido poll, it shouldn't take no more than 2 to 3 minutes of your time. So please feel free to go ahead and do that when available. And if everyone's happy for us to do so, we'll share the link to this recording and the presentations that were delivered today to all the attendees. You can also share that with anyone you think would be interested but isn't available to attend the call also. Thanks very much for your time, and we'll keep you updated with details for the next workshop should you wish to attend.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Please feel free to contact me or anyone of the ICC team. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, folks.
Bye.